Abu Bakr al-Siddiq. Abu Bakr al-Siddiq was the closest companion of Prophet Muhammad and the first adult male to accept Islam, converting around 610 CE when he was approximately 37 years old. Born in 573 CE in Mecca into a respected merchant family, he earned the title al-Siddiq, meaning the truthful, after immediately believing in the Prophet's night journey to Jerusalem, an event that caused many to doubt. A wealthy trader, Abu Bakr used his fortune to support the early Muslim community, purchasing and freeing slaves who had been tortured for their faith, including Bilal ibn Rabah, who would become Islam's first muezzin. When the Prophet migrated from Mecca to Medina in 622 CE to escape persecution, Abu Bakr accompanied him, and the two hid together in the cave of Thar for 3 days while Quraysh search parties hunted them. This event is referenced in the Quran in verse 940, which mentions the second of two when they were in the cave. Upon the Prophet's death in 632 CE, Abu Bakr was selected as the first caliph at approximately age 60, though the decision was contested by some who supported Ali ibn Abi Talib. During his brief caliphate of just 2 years and 3 months, he faced the Ridda Wars, military campaigns against Arabian tribes who abandoned Islam or refused to pay zakat after the Prophet's death. Abu Bakr also commissioned the compilation of the Quran into a single written manuscript, preserving the revelations that had previously been memorized or written on various materials. He died in 634 CE and was buried beside the Prophet in Medina. Umar ibn al-Khattab. Umar ibn al-Khattab, the second caliph of Islam, began as one of the religion's fiercest opponents before his dramatic conversion in 616 CE fundamentally altered Islamic history. Born in 584 CE in Mecca, Umar was known for his physical strength and forceful personality, qualities that initially made him a feared persecutor of early Muslims. According to Islamic tradition, he set out one day with the intention of killing Prophet Muhammad, but was redirected to his own sister Fatima's house, where he discovered her and her husband Sa'id ibn Zayd reading the Quran. After striking his sister and seeing her bleed, Umar felt remorse, read the Quranic verses himself, and immediately went to the Prophet to declare his conversion, which greatly strengthened the Muslim community's position in Mecca. Following Abu Bakr's death in 634 CE, Umar became caliph and ruled for 10 years, during which the Islamic State expanded dramatically through military conquests. Under his leadership, Muslim forces defeated the Persian Sassanid Empire and captured significant Byzantine territories, including Syria, Palestine, and Egypt, expanding the caliphate to approximately 2.2 million square miles. Umar earned the title al-Faruq, meaning the one who distinguishes between right and wrong, and established numerous governmental institutions that shaped Islamic civilization, including the Islamic calendar beginning from the Hijra in 622 CE, the Bait al-Mal treasury system, and administrative divisions called diwans. Despite controlling vast wealth, Umar was famous for his personal austerity, wearing simple patched clothing and walking the streets of Medina at night to check on his subjects' welfare. He conquered Jerusalem peacefully in 637 CE and issued a covenant protecting Christian and Jewish residents. Umar was assassinated in 644 CE while leading prayer by a Persian slave named Abu Lu'lu'ah, dying at age 60. Uthman ibn Affan. Uthman ibn Affan, the third caliph of Islam, was born in 576 CE into the wealthy Umayyad clan of the Quraysh tribe and became one of the earliest converts to Islam, accepting the faith around 611 CE through the preaching of Abu Bakr. Known for his modesty, generosity, and gentle demeanor, Uthman was given the unique title Dhul Nurayn, meaning possessor of two lights, because he married 2 of Prophet Muhammad's daughters at different times, first Ruqayyah, and after her death, Kulthum. His wealth played a crucial role in supporting the early Muslim community. He financed the Muslim army's expedition to Tabuk and purchased the Well of Ruma in Medina, donating it for public use so Muslims would have free access to water. When Umar ibn al-Khattab was assassinated in 644 CE, Uthman was selected as caliph by a council of 6 companions, and he ruled for 12 years until 656 CE. During his caliphate, the Islamic Empire continued its expansion, and Uthman oversaw the construction of the first Muslim naval fleet, which won significant victories against the Byzantine Empire. His most enduring legacy was the standardization of the Quran around 650 CE. Concerned about variations in recitation across the expanding Muslim territories, he commissioned a committee to produce an official text based on the compilation made during Abu Bakr's time, then sent copies to major Islamic cities, and ordered variant texts destroyed to preserve uniformity. However, Uthman's reign was marked by increasing opposition, particularly regarding his appointment of relatives to key positions and questions about wealth distribution. In 656 CE, rebels from Egypt and Iraq besieged his home in Medina for several weeks, and he was eventually assassinated while reading the Quran, dying at approximately age 80, with his blood reportedly staining the manuscript he held, which some sources claim is preserved today. Ali ibn Abi Talib holds a uniquely significant position in Islamic history as the Prophet Muhammad's cousin, son-in-law, and the 4th caliph, while Shia Muslims regard him as the first rightful successor to the Prophet. Born around 600 CE in Mecca, Ali was raised in the Prophet's household from approximately age 5 or 6 after Muhammad took him in to ease the financial burden on Ali's father, Abu Talib, during a time of famine. According to Islamic tradition, Ali was the first child and among the very first males to accept Islam, reportedly converting at age 10, though sources vary on his exact age between 8 and 13 years old. When the Quraysh plotted to assassinate the Prophet in 622 CE, Ali courageously slept in Muhammad's bed to deceive the assassins, allowing the Prophet to escape safely to Medina during the Hijra migration. Ali later married the Prophet's daughter Fatima, and their sons Hassan and Hussein are considered by Muslims to be among the Prophet's beloved grandchildren. Known for his exceptional courage, Ali participated in nearly every major battle during the Prophet's lifetime, except the expedition to Tabuk, and he earned the title Asadullah, meaning Lion of Allah, for his battlefield prowess. After serving as a trusted advisor during the first 3 caliphates, Ali became the 4th caliph in 656 CE following Uthman's assassination. But his 5-year rule was marked by continuous civil conflict, including the Battle of the Camel against Aisha and other companions in 656 CE, and the Battle of Siffin against Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan in 657 CE. Ali moved the capital from Medina to Kufa in present-day Iraq, and he was known for his eloquence, wisdom, and commitment to justice, with his sermons and sayings later compiled in the book Naj al-Balagha. He was assassinated in 661 CE at age approximately 61 while praying in the mosque at Kufa, struck by a poisoned sword wielded by a Kharijite extremist named Abd al-Rahman ibn Muljam, and his death marked the end of the era of the rightly guided caliphs. Talha ibn Ubaydullah. Talha ibn Ubaydullah was among the earliest converts to Islam, accepting the faith around 610 or 611 CE through the preaching of Abu Bakr, and he earned his place as one of the 10 companions explicitly promised paradise during their lifetimes. Born around 594 CE in Mecca into a wealthy merchant family, Talha used his considerable fortune for charitable causes throughout his life, distributing massive sums to the poor and earning titles including Talha al-Khair, meaning Talha the Good, and Talha al-Fayyad, meaning Talha the Generous. His most celebrated act of devotion came during the Battle of Uhud in 625 CE, when Muslim forces faced a devastating counterattack from the Quraysh army, and the Prophet Muhammad was wounded and nearly killed. According to Islamic historical accounts, Talha shielded the Prophet with his own body, and his hand became paralyzed after being struck by numerous arrows while protecting Muhammad from the assault. The Prophet reportedly said of him, "Whoever wants to see a martyr walking on earth, let him look at Talha," acknowledging his sacrifice. Despite his injuries, Talha recovered and continued participating in subsequent military campaigns, and remained a prominent figure in the Muslim community. Historical sources report that he would give away enormous amounts of wealth, sometimes distributing 100,000 dirhams at a single time, and he would rebuild his fortune through trade only to give it away again. Following the assassination of Caliph Uthman in 656 CE, Talha joined with Zubayr ibn al-Awwam and Aisha, the Prophet's widow, in demanding justice for Uthman's killers, which led to the Battle of the Camel near Basra in 656 CE, the first major conflict between Muslims. During this battle, Talha was struck by an arrow, and according to some reports, the fatal shot was fired by Marwan ibn al-Hakam, though this detail is disputed among sources. Talha died from his wound at approximately age 62, and his death, along with Zubayr's, represented one of the great tragedies of the first fitna, as companions who had fought together for Islam now fought against each other. Zubayr ibn al-Awwam. Zubayr ibn al-Awwam was among the earliest converts to Islam, accepting the faith at age 16, around 611 CE, and he holds the distinction of being the first person to draw a sword in defense of Islam when he confronted a group of Quraysh who threatened early Muslims. Born in 594 CE, Zubayr was the son of Awwam and Safiya bint Abdul Muttalib, making him the Prophet Muhammad's cousin through his mother, who was the Prophet's aunt. When Zubayr converted to Islam as a teenager, his uncle reportedly tortured him by hanging him upside down and exposing him to smoke, trying to force him to renounce his faith, but Zubayr refused to abandon Islam despite the severe treatment. The Prophet Muhammad gave Zubayr the honorific title Hawari, meaning disciple or apostle, a term of deep respect and closeness. Zubayr married Asma bint Abi Bakr, the daughter of Abu Bakr al-Siddiq, and their son Abdullah ibn Zubayr would later play a significant role in Islamic history by claiming the caliphate decades after his father's death. Throughout the Prophet's lifetime, Zubayr participated in all major military campaigns and became known for exceptional courage and combat skills. During the Battle of Khandaq in 627 CE, also known as the Battle of the Trench, Zubayr volunteered to scale the fortress walls alone for reconnaissance when others hesitated. Despite his military prowess, Zubayr was also a successful merchant who built considerable wealth through business rather than through the spoils of conquest. After Uthman's assassination in 656 CE, Zubayr joined Talha and Aisha in opposing Ali's caliphate and demanding justice for Uthman, leading to his participation in the Battle of the Camel. However, according to Islamic historical accounts, during the battle, Ali reminded Zubayr of the Prophet's statement that Zubayr would one day fight Ali unjustly, which caused Zubayr to withdraw from the fighting. As he traveled away from the battlefield, Zubayr was killed in 656 CE at age 62 by a man who reportedly did not recognize him as one of the Prophet's honored companions, Abd al-Rahman ibn Auf. Abd al-Rahman ibn Auf was one of the earliest converts to Islam, accepting the faith around 610 CE as one of the first 8 Muslims, and he became renowned as one of the wealthiest and most generous companions in Islamic history. Born in 580 CE in Mecca, Abd al-Rahman was a skilled merchant who demonstrated extraordinary business acumen throughout his life, and he is counted among the 10 companions explicitly promised paradise. When Muslims were persecuted in Mecca, Abd al-Rahman made the migration to Abyssinia for safety, then later migrated again to Medina in 622 CE, making him one of the few companions to complete both migrations. According to Islamic historical accounts, when he arrived in Medina as a refugee with no wealth, an Ansari companion offered to share his property and wealth with him, but Abd al-Rahman declined, asking instead to be directed to the marketplace. Within a remarkably short period, reportedly just months, he rebuilt his fortune through honest trade, demonstrating the business principles that would make him legendary. Throughout his life, Abd al-Rahman donated enormous sums to support the Muslim community, including contributions of 400 to 500 dinars at a time. And on one occasion, he financed an entire military expedition by providing 500 horses along with complete provisions for the soldiers. Islamic sources record that he once brought a caravan of 700 camels loaded with goods into Medina, and when people assumed it was for trade, he announced he was donating it all to charity. When Caliph Umar was assassinated in 644 CE, Abd al-Rahman was appointed to a 6-member council responsible for selecting the next caliph, and despite being offered the position himself, he refused it and ultimately chose Uthman ibn Affan as the 3rd caliph. Abd al-Rahman's wealth was so immense that when he died in 654 CE at age 74 from natural causes, Islamic historical sources report that 1/8 of his estate, the portion designated for his widows, equaled 84,000 dinars, and the gold from his inheritance was so abundant it had to be broken apart with axes to be distributed among his numerous heirs. Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas. Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas holds a distinguished place in Islamic history as one of the earliest converts, accepting Islam at age 17 around 610 CE, and he became the most celebrated archer among the Prophet Muhammad's companions and a brilliant military commander. Born in 595 CE in Mecca, Sa'd was the maternal uncle of the Prophet, as his mother was the sister of the Prophet's mother, Amina, creating a close family bond that the Prophet honored throughout his life. According to Islamic tradition, Sa'd was the first person to shoot an arrow in defense of Islam during the early conflicts with the Quraysh, and his skill with the bow became legendary among Muslims. During battles, the Prophet Muhammad showed his exceptional regard for Sa'd by personally handing him arrows and reportedly saying to him, "May my father and mother be sacrificed for you," a phrase of ultimate honor in Arabic culture that the Prophet rarely used. At the Battle of Uhud in 625 CE, when Muslim forces were struggling against the Quraysh counterattack, Sa'd distinguished himself by protecting the Prophet with his archery. After the Prophet's death, Sa'd's greatest achievements came as a military commander during the Muslim conquests, particularly his leadership of the campaign against the Persian Sassanid Empire. In 636 CE, Sa'd commanded Muslim forces at the Battle of Qadisiyah, one of the most decisive battles in history, where a Muslim army estimated at 30,000 soldiers defeated a Persian force reportedly numbering over 100,000, though exact figures vary in historical sources. This victory shattered Persian military power, and Sa'd followed it by conquering Ctesiphon, the magnificent Persian capital, in 637 CE, ending the 4th century reign of the Sassanid dynasty. Sa'd founded the city of Kufa in present-day Iraq in 638 CE as a military garrison, and it rapidly grew into one of Islam's most important centers of learning and culture. He was appointed to the 6-member council that selected Uthman as caliph after Umar's death, and Sa'd lived longer than most prominent companions, dying between 674 and 676 CE at age 79 to 81 during the rule of Muawiyah, having witnessed the reigns of the first 4 caliphs and the transition to the Umayyad dynasty. Sa'id ibn Zayd. Sa'id ibn Zayd was among the earliest converts to Islam, accepting the faith before the Prophet Muhammad even established his base at Dar al-Arqam around 613 CE. Yet, he remains less famous than other companions, despite being promised paradise and playing a crucial role in one of Islam's most pivotal conversions. Born in 593 CE, Sa'id was the son of Zayd ibn Amr, a notable figure who had rejected idol worship and sought monotheism even before the Prophet's mission, making Sa'id naturally receptive to Islam's message. Sa'id married Fatima bint al-Khattab, and their home became the unexpected setting for one of Islamic history's most dramatic moments, when Fatima's brother, Umar ibn al-Khattab, came to their house in 616 CE. According to Islamic tradition, Umar had set out intending to kill the Prophet Muhammad, but someone redirected him to his sister's house, where he found Sa'id and Fatima reading the Quran with Khabbab ibn al-Arat teaching them. Enraged, Umar struck his sister, causing her face to bleed, but when he saw the blood and his sister's steadfast faith, he felt remorse and asked to read the Quranic verses they had been reciting. After reading Surah Taha, Umar's heart changed, and he immediately went to the Prophet to declare his conversion, an event that dramatically strengthened the Muslim community's position in Mecca. Zayd participated in most of the Prophet's military campaigns, though Islamic sources record that he missed the Battle of Badr because the Prophet had assigned him to a different mission, and the Prophet later gave him a share of Badr's rewards despite his absence. During the Muslim conquest of Syria, under the caliphates of Abu Bakr and Umar, Zayd fought alongside other companions in expanding Islamic territories. Unlike many prominent companions who became deeply involved in political affairs during the first fitna, Zayd maintained a relatively low political profile and focused on worship and teaching. According to Islamic tradition, Zayd was once falsely accused by a woman of illegally seizing her land, and he responded by praying that if she was lying, Allah would blind her and cause her to die in that very land. And the tradition holds that the woman subsequently went blind and eventually died after falling into a pit on the disputed property. Sa'id ibn Zayd died in 671 CE at age 78 in Medina. Abu Ubaydah ibn al-Jarrah. Abu Ubaydah ibn al-Jarrah earned the title Amin al-Ummah, meaning trustworthy of the nation, directly from Prophet Muhammad, and he exemplified Islamic humility despite being among the 10 companions explicitly promised paradise during their lifetimes. Born in 583 CE in Mecca, Abu Ubaydah converted to Islam in its early years around 611 CE and immediately became known for his deep faith, selflessness, and unwavering commitment to the Muslim community. During the Battle of Uhud in 625 CE, when the Prophet Muhammad was wounded and 2 rings from his helmet became embedded in his face, Abu Ubaydah carefully removed them with his own teeth, losing 2 of his teeth in the process to avoid causing the Prophet further pain. Abu Ubaidah's loyalty to Islam was tested in the most painful way during the Battle of Badr in 624 CE, when he faced his own father, al-Jarrah ibn Khalid, who fought on the side of the Quraysh against the Muslims, and according to Islamic historical accounts, Abu Ubaydah ultimately killed his father in combat, demonstrating that his allegiance to faith transcended blood ties. After the Prophet's death, Abu Ubaydah became one of the most trusted military commanders under Caliphs Abu Bakr and Umar, and he was appointed to lead the Muslim conquest of Syria. His military campaigns were highly successful, capturing key cities, including Damascus, and contributing to the defeat of Byzantine forces in the region. Despite commanding armies and governing conquered territories, Abu Ubaydah lived with remarkable austerity. When Caliph Umar visited Syria and came to Abu Ubaidah's home, he reportedly found no furniture except a sword, shield, and a simple sleeping mat, with Abu Ubaydah wearing patched clothing. When offered additional stipend and resources befitting his position, Abu Ubaydah declined, saying that a mount to ride, a weapon to fight with, and enough food to eat were sufficient for him. In 639 CE, a devastating epidemic known as the Plague of Amwas swept through Syria and Palestine, killing an estimated 25,000 Muslims according to historical sources, though estimates vary. Abu Ubaydah contracted the plague and, sensing his approaching death, appointed Mu'adh ibn Jabal to succeed him in leadership, but Mu'adh also died from the same plague shortly afterward. Abu Ubaydah died in 639 CE at approximately age 56 in the Jordan Valley, and his death represented not only a personal loss, but symbolized the mortality of the generation that had walked with the Prophet and witnessed the birth of Islam. If you want to see more, click the video on screen now.